Welcome, everybody. This is our Top Producer Series, episode 2, and we've got an amazing person here, one of my dear good friends, Valerie, and she's going to be talking about, a lot of stuff, but I'm going to start by introducing her to you guys. You really need to know who Valerie is, okay? So, are you ready for this, Val? I'm going to introduce you. It's a very long bio, but what I'm going to really just point out a few things about Valerie. She is currently an owner of Power Marketing Associate Broker. She's a broker actually at Real Broker and a president of Valerie's Vacation Homes. And she dedicates her time both to helping buyers and sellers and, of course, managing vacation homes in Orange County. If any one of you guys have clients that are looking in Orange County, please send Valerie those referrals, because I've known Valerie for a while now, and she's an amazing realtor. She's always learning based, always hunger for learning. I love that about Valerie. So another thing I want to mention about her, her attention to detail and hands-on approach distinguishes her from other realtors in that area. In Southern California, Orange County is where she's based out of. And considering herself as a champion for those around her, Valerie's passion, commitment, and determination gets her to where she wants in her business. And she's got all of that, trust me. Welcome, Valerie, to episode 2 of our Top Producer Series today. And we're going to be talking a little bit about what are you bringing to us today in terms of education?
So I'm going to talk about pillar talk.
Okay.
What are pillars, how to use them in your business? A lot of us probably already are and don't know it. And some of us would find our social media challenges and consistency a lot easier if we focused on pillars.
Absolutely. So take it away, Valerie. I want to know more about the different pillars of our real estate business that you have been successful in actually. And I can't wait to hear. So I'm not going to waste any more time, you guys, because I want to hear from Valerie.
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me. This is humbling, and I'm honored to be the second person. I was kind of hoping other people would go ahead of me and I would, but that's not how it's going to be. And I'm not an expert at doing Zoom, so everyone forgive me. We'll try to make it through this. But thank you very much. So I certainly have a challenge being focused. So what I want to share with you is something that certainly helps me. So don't adjust your screens or check your calendars. Yes, it is still 2023. And yes, I've been selling homes since avocado green shag carpets were the height of interior design. And actually, Janky, I lived in a house in San Jose with avocado green shag carpet. So, back when I sold my first home at the tender age of 21, tweet was just a sound that birds made. And Instagram could have been mistaken for a speedy telegram service. Little did I know that these would become everyday tools of trade. But over the years, I've seen it all, from the rise of ranch style homes to now the open floor plans. And I can tell you this, that if you think convincing a client to remove their dated wallpaper is hard, try figuring out the latest social media algorithms. But here's one thing. We know that the business isn't just about houses. It's about people. It's about making connections, sharing stories, and building our relationships. And I found that you can do this whether you're at an open house or whether you're opening up an Instagram page. So let's roll up our sleeves. Let's get rid of any technophobia that we all have, and dive into this world of social media pillars. After all, we've tackled shag carpet, 18% interest rates, yes, and a lot of market crises. So we can certainly handle a hashtag or two, can't we?
Absolutely. And I know the right person is going to do that for us. So I can't wait to hear what you have.
And this is a picture of me. Actually, you probably wouldn't recognize me, but that is me when we were using telephones, actually.
Now it's all about cell phones, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've all heard that riches are in the niches, but what are your niches? You might have a specific target, but is that a target market? But is that one enough to produce content on a regular basis, a lot of different content, and keep it interesting, and stay on top of the changes and attract new customers? If so, how are you using your pillars in social media? At the core, a pillar is just how it sounds. It's a pillar. It's something that keeps you focused, holds up your building, holds your structure together. And in content marketing, it refers to your fundamental theme. So in the world of social media, these pillars are your foundation, your content, your topics, and they give you focus. So they're going to help you stay on track when you're deciding or wondering what you should post. So when you're wondering what to post and how to get your market out to the right people, go to your pillars. And this has been a really big help for me. Once you just start doing that, we'll go through this a little bit later. So maybe you've never taken the time to define your pillars. I was talking with a really close friend recently, just not very long ago, and we were talking about pillars, and she just hadn't thought about pillars. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I said, what are pillars? But when you think about it, most of us have them, we just don't define them, and we don't use them enough to really help us with our social media. So we want to talk about who your ideal clients would be. Of course, some of them are obvious and are well known. Law enforcement, for example, law enforcement, medical professionals, those people stick together. We used to say, if you have one of them, you have them all. If you have one policeman, you have one fireman, you have them all, because they all talk to each other and tell each other who they should use. Luxury properties. You might say, well, we don't have any luxury properties where I live. Well, you do, because luxury could be defined as just the 15% over the average sales price in your area. So luxury for you may not be what luxury is for me. In fact, we have different layers of luxury. We have homes that are $1 million to $3 million would be my luxury, but there are people in my area who have $50 million houses. So that's not exactly my luxury, but we all have different levels of luxury. So think of it that way. First-time buyers, many of us focus on first-time buyers. We're going to talk about different ways to market to them if they are your pillar. Investors, some things that people don't think about is investors. Let's say, for example, in vacation rental homes. I happen to work in the area of vacation rental properties, or short-term rentals, as they may be. Some people just call them Airbnbs. I have an Airbnb. But many of you may not have thought about how you can market to those people. For example, in our area, a couple of us market to the owners of short-term rentals, because you can only buy a short-term rental property or have a short-term rental property in the Disneyland area if you already have a permit. So because those permits are so valuable, that they sell for over the asking price. So we sell homes for $150,000 or $200,000 over market value if they have a short-term rental permit. So that's a niche that some people market to. One man here, and that's what he does across the state. So you might think of that as being a pillar, as being a niche for you. Your city and your neighborhood, we're going to talk about that. Some of you live in a city that's known for something, and that's what you focus on. Moms, who doesn't love moms and their children? I don't have little children, so that's not one that I can work on right now, but I do have over 55. So over 55, I hate to admit that, over 55, we can use as a pillar. Now there's other parts to that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Absentee owners is another one, especially right now, if people are feeling that their houses aren't, maybe they were on adjustables, or they've got HELOCs and their rates are going up and they just don't feel like being a landlord anymore. So absentee owners is another niche. And military, I think there's a couple aspects of military. So for example, people like Lana Rodriguez and other people, and even Ginger Walker, other people I know market to military, but I think that there's military that are currently in service, but also military who are leaving and start leaving their service duty and then going into a new life, that they're really no longer in the military. So there's different aspects of a military family or a military expertise, military background that we can market to. So these
I love this. Sorry to cut you off, Val, but this is so awesome, because you're actually, giving us the pillars. And you're telling us who is your ideal client. Look in your past database, go and figure out who are your ideal clients. Like for me, my ideal clients are engineers. My ideal clients are from Google and from Yahoo and all these different companies, Facebook. And those are my ideal clients, the engineers, the software engineers or the managers and things like that. So so you're saying, okay, here's your pillar. Now focus on that pillar. That is your niche. Focus on that, correct?
Correct. And actually, there is a gentleman in San Francisco, Janky, and I'm sure you know him. I think he's with EXP, and of course, now I can't remember his name. And he calls himself something like the technology agent. He
Oh.
left the tech world and became a realtor, and that's how he labels himself.
Hmm.
And so then his niche is obviously reaching out to people that work in the tech industry. And those are the people that he markets to. But keep in mind that you also will want to have more than one pillar. So
Absolutely.
for example, I have a little trouble, like I said, staying focused. So I have 5 pillars. One isn't enough, but we really want to have more than one so that you have a lot of different aspects.
Nice. Okay. So have more than one pillar.
Yeah. So who would your ideal clients be? Would be these people. Also dog owners, for example. There's a gentleman I want to say he's in Orange County, but there's 2 guys that are in one of our coaching groups, and they talk literally, and I never ever thought about this, but I'm not a dog owner. They actually market to how you should consider your home buying, your experience and your purchase based on your dog.
Wow,
I never would have seen that. So for example, one of these, it's either James or Joe, I don't know which one it is, but they actually did a video about how to evaluate the size of the fence around the backyard and if that would be good for your dog.
Wow, that's very interesting. That's a great pillar to have. Anyone that's listening on Facebook Live right now, I want you to tell us, how does that sound to you? Like, I mean, dog owners as part of a pillar and making that as a niche, like 80% of homeowners, or maybe 60% of homeowners do have dogs and pets, right? And getting into a community group, like we talked about our first episode was about community group. Maybe you could form a community group on Facebook for dog owners. This is good. Awesome. Keep going.
Absolutely. And I would have never thought about that, but I don't have a dog. I think of dogs as, being cute little dogs or puppies, like my grandchildren let me borrow their dog, this cute little Tootsie, the dog that we have. But I never thought about marketing to people based on, well, when you're in, and it makes perfect sense, right? When I'm going out to show you a home and I know you've got a golden retriever or you've got a Great Dane or whatever, I need to help you find a home based on how friendly is that neighborhood to dogs. And
how big is the backyard
and how good is that house for it? Sure,
right.
Absolutely. So those are things that definitely are a niche. The other thing is upsizing or downsizing and right sizing. And I've personally learned from my own experience that being a child of aging parents, when we all become their caretakers, things that we need to know. I learned things when my dad died 5 years ago. He went in a situation from he and my mom had lived in the same house for forever together. They were married 78 years, never lived in assisted living. And about a month before he passed away, he needed to go into another home, had no idea how to find one, had no idea how to evaluate them, no idea what they cost, how you pay for it, all of those things, and what the laws are and rules are. So, and now my mom is renting one. So we have become their caretakers. So it's not only a matter of your niche being over 55 people, but I think the niche, another niche, which is neglected, if not totally forgotten, is us, the children of those people, and what our needs are and what we need to know. We need to know about reverse mortgages. Everybody thinks they're a bad thing. They're not a bad thing. They're a great thing. And depending on how you use it. So over 55 isn't just the over 55 person, but we, as especially now in our generation, so many of our parents are living longer. My mom's 103. So we need to learn about what decisions we're going to need to make. And especially if our parents live in another area, another state, we need to know what we don't know.
Exactly. And that will help us, finally make some good decisions for them. Great. Okay.
There's a lady in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, who markets herself as the red hair agent.
Oh.
And that's one of her pillars, is that she's puts herself in that community, the things that people need to know about being in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, which, by the way, was a steel mill city for a long time, but it's not so much now. And the things about the way those homes were built that had to do with their proximity to the steel mills. And that's a very interesting thing that someone local should talk about.
Right. So
I have a
knowing
friend-
your local, knowing your local market and the niches in your marketplace, whether it's your city, whether it's your neighborhood, city, or county, you know, you just have to focus on what are your niches. Okay, so on the slide here, what I see is the lighter side of life, your talents, your passion, and your enthusiasm. Talk to me a little bit about that. What is your reference to that?
So one of the things we don't think about is actually how to have fun with the things that set us aside from other people. So what do you enjoy? Are you a cook? So why not write a cookbook?
Right.
And if you are a cook and you're someone who loves being in the kitchen, which some of us don't, I love being in the kitchen, but I'm not very good at it. So why don't we then focus on kitchens? Why don't we talk about what you should evaluate when you look at a kitchen? Things like the height of the appliances and how many are there? And if you're a chef and you love entertaining, should you have 2 dishwashers?
Right.
And the things that if you are a chef, you would know, and even I may see it, but you can talk about it because it's your niche. Do you play sports, for example? A friend of mine, I'll show you, I don't have his picture here. His name is Charles Payton. He's in Bakersfield, California, which isn't exactly the height of the hot spots in California. But Charles Payton is a skateboarder. So he calls himself the skate realtor.
So there's so many different pillars here that we can go on and on and on talking about. It just defines, you have to define your business in a pillar setting and then build content out of it for social media.
That's right. And the things that you're passionate about are probably, you're passionate about them because you're good at them. So those are things that it makes it very easy for you to talk about because you know it well. It's either where you live and you love where you live, or it's your passion. It's yours. And for example, we talked about Cassandra Marks and her gardening. Also, Chelsea Pites. How do we know Chelsea Pites? We think of her Chihuahuas.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And we know she's a brilliant speaker and she's a brilliant marketer, but we think of her son. She's got a darling little boy and of her dogs, right? So which are two of her pillars. So your enthusiasm for these makes you relatable. And Chelsea talks about when you're relatable, it's because you're bold, you're brave, you put yourself out there. People, if you're relatable, people probably like you, love you, trust you long before they think of you as a realtor. They find you online and they like you because you are a dog person, or you are you're any one of these things. You skate, you farm. People love Cass because she's growing onions. I'm growing onions. I had no idea that's how you grow onions. But there's only one you. So you want to be relatable, and that makes you brave. Be willing to put yourself out there. Your clients will love you. They'll trust you. They'll think you're a great person. And then they will choose you to be their realtor.
I think a lot of people forget that a lot of realtors, and this is what I was saying in our first episode, is that a lot of realtors forget that we're in the people business, right? We're in the relationship business. We're not automated business. We need to connect. And this episode is about not only your pillars, but about how you connect with those pillars and then how you show your passion and your enthusiasm. One of my biggest passions is teaching, and my biggest passion is bringing value to other realtors wherever I can find that, because I know when I was sort of growing up in this real estate business here in California, I didn't have that. So I don't want any agent to be left behind, so to speak. I just want everyone, you know, top producers or not, share what's working for you. And what's working for you, Val, are your pillars that you can build social media content out of, like I said earlier, and you have to show your talent and your enthusiasm and your passion through that, correct?
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Okay.
So your superpower is you. That's what you are. When people think of Lana Rodriguez, they think of her military. They also think of her client, her client events. That's what she's known for. Ginger is known for being the give back team. So, and also Eric Larkin, these other people. So let's say also we have a friend in the South who was a gymnast. And so her niche is that she calls herself the perfect balance.
Hmm.
And
Right.
I have to just interject this. I saw an agent yesterday that I wish I'd seen her before. I would include her. She is the mom of a teenage figure skater. So she talked about, I know about balance. I know about grace. And these are the things I bring to your real estate transaction.
Balance. I mean, yes, of course, because when a client is so stressed out, how do you balance that transaction, right? To keep them calm at the same time, negotiate at the same time, make sure that everything closes on time.
Right.
That's great. That is amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was good. So once you figure out your brand, the rest of it will fall together. And we've talked about this. So what are some of the, why do I feel like I'm going backwards?
No, you're not actually.
Okay, I'm not, okay. So here's some of your real estate pillars, So because we have these social pillars, you also want to incorporate your real estate pillars. So your real estate pillars would be market updates, property tours. Tyler Hassman in Canada is known for his property tours and his hat. He is known for, you see him and you think of his property tours. Some people, you think of their personal brand, of the way they do their market updates, of their community showcases. For me, my OC vibes. For Eric Larkin, it's the coast of Florida. For Michelle, it's Soboka. And your expert insights. Some people are really good, Janky, as you brought out, at teaching and making their teaching interesting. The people want to listen to them. And we all know also that there are some people we've heard doing market updates or expert insights, and they are so boring. So there is a niche to this. If you can make your expert insights and your market updates interesting, people will listen to you. And if you don't believe that, just look at property tours, the incredible amount of views that property tours get, because people see something that they want to watch and it's interesting, right?
Right. You got to keep it interesting. I mean, look, this comes from passion, to be honest with you, because if you're passionate about something and you're passionate about sharing market updates in your area, that will automatically show with the way you speak and how you showcase it. It shows on your face, it shows on your smile, it shows you're wearing your brand right here. Right. And when your brand is right here and you're marketing, you're showing market updates or showcasing a property or, expert insights to something, people will resonate. People will want to listen. People will want more of that. You got to do it consistently. That's what I believe in as well. So whatever you do right here, real estate pillars, keep it consistent. And I'm sure all of these people keep it consistent, correct?
Absolutely.
There you go. Consistency is key.
So now let's talk how to do this. So first of all, you want to determine your social media pillars, which hopefully we've helped you do. Second of all, and this is very, very simple. It's so simple, I can even relate to this. Number 2 is you literally create a calendar. If you don't have a calendar, Tristan Ahumada publishes a social media calendar every month. He's glad to share it with you. He gives you 30 days of suggested content, but you can also just take his calendar and make your own. So get
And Tristan also owns a virtual assistant company, Val, that actually has these social media managers that create the same kind of content calendar, right? Yeah.
Right. So you make a list of your pillars, and I have a list of my 5 pillars. Mm-hmm. And then I have, and literally you you print out a calendar.
Right.
You choose where you want them to be. Do you want it to be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, YouTube, or a combination of. And then you assign a topic to each one of your posts and each one of your days. And then you analyze the results. And you may, for example, have something you do, for example, like Soboka or OC Vibes. And then you go off and you do restaurants, or you do communities in Orange County, or you do any of those other things. So this is like having a guiding star. And this was really a revelation to me. Having pillars was incredible to me, because like having a guiding star that keeps your social media on track. So if you don't know what to post, just look at your pillars. And also when you want to post something, look at your pillars and say, does this fit into any of my pillars?
Right. Right. And of course, you have to show that passion again, that enthusiasm in your post, because if that's not shown there, that's when you don't resonate with your social audience, right?
Right. But one of the things that so many of us have trouble with is knowing what to post. What am I going to post? What am I going to post? Just seems overwhelming. But if you just design your pillars and you say, okay, what today can I talk about that has to do with the market? Or what did I do this week about something that I'm good at? And then you just start plugging it into your calendar. Seems oversimplified, but it is that simple. So when you have your pillars, you're less likely to stray off brand. You're less likely to be inconsistent because you have this guiding star that's always going to say, here's your pillars, stay in with your pillars.
Right.
And then, of course, in the meantime, you want to interject stories, right? And things that happen in your life. Any minute you see something, something happens. But if you also can interject that in, like, for example, on ice cream day, I'm going to do a story about the best place to have ice cream in Orange County or on the Balboa Peninsula and make it even more focused. So you don't have to only stay in your 5 pillars, but it's certainly just a guiding star that's going to help those of us who have trouble staying focused. And what am I going to post? I don't know what to post.
Another thing also that works really great, Val, is giving tips, especially tips about what is it that you're talking about? You're one of your pillars, like give away tips, give away information, talk about why this market is the way it is. Or even if you don't want to talk about the market, talk about what you're passionate about. Bring that as, tips to your audience. People
Absolutely.
always resonate with that too.
Right. Absolutely. Along with those being one of your real estate tips.
Right.
So then you want to continue to analyze it and make sure that it's working and stay on track. And if it's not working so well, either change it or do something different with it. And make sure, of course, that you engage with your audience. So let's give some examples of how we could do this, because it might be a little bit overwhelming. And here's, of course, an abundance of content, all the things you can do. Another way to find out how to get your content is to go to something like Ask the People, or just Google, for example. My pillar is cooking in kitchens in Orange County, let's just say. So you put that in Google, and then it will give you a list of the different questions that people ask about that.
Oh, that's something I learned from Tristan.
Yeah, I did too. Thank you,
Yes,
Tristan.
yes, I like that.
Yeah. It's not a Tristan commercial, but we've all learned a few things from
We've
Tristan.
all learned, yes.
You can't deny it, right?
Always give credit to people who deserve that. Simple
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so now how do I apply this? Let's put it to work. Let's say, for example, that you want to have a pillar of luxury buyers and sellers. So how would you actually use this? So your pillar would be luxury listings. Your educational part can be market trends that are focused on those neighborhoods and those areas. You would then want to do some posts about the elite neighborhoods, or what you would call the luxury neighborhoods in your area. And another way you could then work that into your pillars is, let's see, you talk about staging excellence,
right?
Or different features about high-end homes, because they're not all the same.
No, not at all.
They are. We don't, oh my gosh, they're all gorgeous. And most of them are beautiful. But some people will go into a luxury home and say, I don't want this home because. So you have to find the goods and the bads. So you can even incorporate a car dealer or a jewelry store or a restaurant, something that you can bring into emphasis to build your pillar, focusing on luxury buyers and sellers. Views, what things set that home aside from all the other ones.
That's excellent tip right there. Thank you. Okay.
So let's talk about families with children. There's so many aspects of families with children. And especially, we mentioned earlier, if you have a special needs child, there's even another element to talk about. Or if you have a special needs school in your area, then talk about that school or those programs and how they can attract people to that area. So of course, school districts, school zones, school statistics, demographics. We have one city here in Orange County, city of Irvine, which is the demographic tends to be Asian people, a lot of Chinese people, where education is premier to those people. They want their kids to be in the best schools.
Yep.
So be sure that you market to that demographic, to those people. So for example, there's things about those homes. They don't like homes where you open the front door and the stairway goes right out the front door.
Exactly.
So think of those things when you have a specific demographic. Also, then, of course, you talk about family activities, your parks, this, all the things about that area, what's going on. You might want to have a series where every week you do what's happening this weekend in Irvine, for example, and
Right.
just talk about the family-centered activities. And
Yeah.
then, believe it or not, we should talk about kid-friendly floor plans.
That's true.
Especially now because kids are studying at home, families are at home more with schoolwork type of things. Some kids are being schooled at home. So does the floor plan. And if a client calls you and says, I've got kids and they're this age and they're in school and blah, 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 look for floor plans where you have a bonus room or a basement or a loft area where they can study. Do they have separate bathrooms? Right? Those kind of things that will set you aside from everybody else rather than just taking people out and showing them all the 4 bedrooms around.
Right. Okay.
And your focus, then you can be known as the agent who focuses on those things and brings that to clients who are looking for family-friendly things or the right neighborhood or the right city or street even, or school district to buy in. That makes sense to everybody?
That's really, like, I'm so engrossed in this because some things you always learn from these series and from other top producers, but what you just nailed down is you're taking the pillar. Now what are your topics, your subtopics? What can you talk about, whether it's social media, whether it's just a posting, or you're doing a video, or your tips that you're giving away. This is something that people want to know more about. Find out what your buyers and sellers really resonate with. What is the demand? Like our demand over here is schools, right?
Right.
And whether it's 8-9 rating or 7-8-9 rating, people want to live in good neighborhoods, good school area. And so now it becomes that right there. Know the school zones, know the demographics, and then offer what kind of activities are around in that area. I love that. That is amazing. Good job, Val. This is really good. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. So let's say, for example, that so we all see property tours, right? But when was the last time that you saw a property tour where the realtor said, let me tell you why this is a kid-friendly floor plan?
Yeah, I've never heard that. Yeah.
You never heard that. So what if you did that? Right.
Right.
Make
it different. Make it
absolutely.
Make yourself
absolutely. Be the one who analyzes the floor plans. Okay, so and let's talk about first-time home buyers. That's easy. Lots of us want to work with first-time home buyers. I mean, right now we'll all work with anybody. Let's face it. And they say, "Who's your target market?" And we all say, "Right now, my target market's anybody."
Anybody.
I admit that's true. But we have to, for the purpose of this, we need to focus it down. So when you have first-time home buyers, and they don't all have to be 20-year-olds. There are first-time home buyers that are also older that have never bought a home or haven't bought a home for a really, really, really long time. So your, of course, Home Buying 101. You can do classes on Home Buying 101. That can be your little weekly, market segment, your little tips. Like 3 reasons you should know this, or should you do this or that, and have a financial corner. Location matters, for example. Educate your first-time home buyers on why location is important. Even in a townhome or a condominium community, why would you want one property over the other?
Right.
The view, is it proximity, closeness to the parking garage, closeness to the elevator? Is it, closeness to shopping or whatever? And another thing that is interesting is that if you have a new listing, then talk about all the things about that listing that make it attractive to your demographic. And then, of course, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Bob.
And then, of course, your inspection and negotiation insights. And
Right.
those, I think you can do negotiation insights with every level, but especially in helping first-time buyers.
And we're not only talking about your value proposition, you're talking about now going deeper into what you're passionate about, number one. Number two, you're talking about your different pillars of social content you can build out. And number three, now you're talking about what do you resonate with as a realtor? What are you passionate about? And you're bringing that passion out to them. So your audience, again, can see that, feel that, and want to work with you, like you said earlier. But you're actually now breaking it down into, like you talked about earlier, close this unit. And I always do that. I always preview my homes before sending it to our clients. And that's, something of a value added proposition is letting our client know, okay, when you do step in, this is what you're going to see. Now, sometimes they don't have time. They want to go to open houses. They don't want to really block your time from, on a weekend, you might be busy with other clients. So some of my clients always say, listen, I'm going to go to the open house. I don't know what time I'll go, but I'll definitely go. But at least now they know, is it a waste of my time going there? Or does she have that insight of that particular home already? Right. So that is also something of a value add that you can talk about in one of these pillars.
Absolutely. And what if you called your client and you said, I previewed this home. I know they have an open house Sunday. You're welcome to go there. But let me tell you what I saw in this home or didn't see in this home based on what I think you're looking for.
Exactly.
You're welcome to go there. I'm not sure this is your floor plan because you told me you have kids and this, and this, and it has or doesn't have this.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. So we are about 8-9 minutes over, which is fantastic, but which is okay. If you need to go, please go ahead and go. But Val, let's talk more. If you have anything more, we'd love to hear.
I have some bonus tips for you.
Perfect.
And this is kind of a fun thing to do, but it's really interesting. I thought it was interesting. So if you can't after all this, you can't think of anything to post, or you're not sure how to focus your pillars, let's try the 4 H's. The 4 H's are things that you can use to apply to your pillar and how to bring it out and make it a little bit more interesting. Those 4 H's would be anything that's helpful.
Okay.
Bring in humor. Make sure that your customer is heard, that they feel heard. And that again would be something that's educational. Mm-hmm. And the happenings, what's happening. So some examples of those would be, so something that's helpful would be just something like saying you deserve some time for yourself today. Just post a story, or we're not just a real estate company, we are, or I'm just not a real estate agent, I'm something else. Yeah, the person who sent this, or you send out a Starbucks card, the person who sent this to you wants you to know that they're thinking of you, right? Or your tips, gentle reminders. And for educational, that's easy, but you could say something like, what about like what to choose when you're wanting a house with a kitchen where you can cook, right? Or how to evaluate, or our team members like this floor plan, because how often do you go to a restaurant and the server's favorite choice, right? But you don't see that very often with real estate. So what if you said our team was out previewing houses this week and this was one of our favorites?
Oh, wow. That's a good one. Yeah. Okay.
And you could do something fun with that. And how to be relatable, how to be heard would be, more your educational stuff. Bring your people into that. Let them know that you've listened to them. And happenings are always fun. Tours of our office. If you don't have an office, and many of us don't, meet our team, and some of us don't have, if we're solo agents, your team can still be your transaction coordinator, your home inspector. You can bring those people into your team.
Or your virtual assistants,
Sure, absolutely. Right now, let's include them, give them a little credit.
Absolutely, bring them in and say, hey, this is who you're talking behind the scenes,
and just simple things like, how do we get ready for an open house?
Right.
All the things we have in our car. We take toilet paper, trash bags, flashlights, all those things.
Absolutely.
And of course, and the humor things is, how do you get to a house and then you find out that there's, it was already sold, or there's no lockbox or whatever.
Actually, my daughter experienced that just last week. When she was showing a home, it wasn't marked in MLS as pending, but when our executive assistant made the appointment, it was available. Right. So that was, you could take it as a humor, or you could be frustrated and say, what the heck, the agent didn't tell me this. So
absolutely. And your behind the scenes or your happenings could even be something like what we do before we go on a listing, right? How we do our market research and so forth. And also then behind the scenes could be to highlight a customer who loves you and do their testimonial.
Right.
So those are just a few bonus tips that I wanted to share with you. I thought that was fun.
Well, thank you so much, Valerie. I am so I've taken two pages of notes here, Val.
Oh, that's nice.
But you know what? This is great. We'd love to have you back with some other tips and more information in a few months. Thank you so much, Val. I really, really appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me today. And I hope that everyone will use this and make their social media a little bit easier.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.